get started, guys. Really excited to be talking to you guys. Not knowing anything about the project when I first kind of started to do my research, I was like, "Whoa, this reminds me of an episode of Futurama with I think it's Robotica. It's like the Kwanzaa for robots or whatever, and robology and all that stuff. And that's kind of the vibe I got. And when I clicked on it, I was like, "Oh, this is kind of the vibe I get." So love that. But kind of just wanted to quickly get you guys to do a quick intro, kind of introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about how you guys got into the space and what you guys do.
Perfect. And yeah, I'm always interested to hear about how, what people's first impressions are. And that's a good one. I feel like there's some inspiration a little bit from Bender, was a past saint, but the genesis of this whole concept goes back a really long time, which I'll let Sam speak to a little bit more later. But I can just go ahead and get started here. The Saint Robotica team consists of Samuel Ho, the artist and creator of the project. And he's partnered with Gen AI, which is a community, a project within a company called GMI Studios. So myself, Brian, project lead with them. And we have Lynette, I see, has joined. She's director of operations at GMI and has a relationship with Sam, which I think we'll speak to a little bit later. And then also in GMI Studios, they've have a couple other collections, other projects, have been in the space building for a long time. And so we bring that level of knowledge and expertise to artists who are looking to make an entrance in the space. And Sam is working on, this Saint Robotica, his first, Genesis original IP NFT collection, which is really exciting. And other than that, we've been around in the space for a long time. Sam is here with us now. We've been working on this one for, over 6 months now. We did a sneak preview at NYC NFT at the Deadheads event. And that was the first time people got a preview of Saint Robotica. And since then, we've been, growing the community, sharing the art. We want people to get a sense of the art the same way you did, Ryan. What is your first impression and how does it make you feel? And so that's kind of who we are and how we came together. And maybe Sam, if you don't mind doing a little introduction and how you came to either the inspiration of Saint Robotica and how you met this Gen AI team.
Okay. Thanks for letting me talk. So I probably entered about a year ago. I'm by trade a commercial artist. I've probably worked with I've worked with Netflix, Disney, Marvel. I used to work for ESPN, and to be honest, my initial reaction as a lot of artists is that the NFT space is kind of sketchy, or on the other side, people are making a lot of money, but there's a lot of, it's still kind of a no man's land. And my first NFT project I did do was I did the first collection for Danny Trejo, which was kind of interesting. But in the end, you still feel like a tool. And it wasn't until Lynette reached out, she's the director of operations for Gen AI, that I kind of put my faith into creating something original, an original IP based on, my own interest in something like that. And she's like, why don't you do something based on the piece? So she's one of the first collectors of my art. 11 years ago, I created this one Mega Man piece, which was kind of a stained glass, something actually quite similar to the project. And she gave me the ideas, and I'm like, okay, let's build on this. And eventually, we built this whole lore and built this grand design and built this whole NFT project out of it. And the Gen AI, Brian and Lynette held my hand, basically, because I had no idea about contracts and all this Web3 space. And I'm part of a larger artist collective. We're called the Poster Posse, but we do a lot of work for Hollywood. We do, a lot of posters for Marvel movies and stuff like that. And a lot of them are against NFTs because they don't know anything and they only know kind of what the mainstream talks about it. But, I just opened my mind and opened my heart, and she basically held my hand and said, I trust her. And she brought me in and introduced me to Brian and the team and Jeremy and Tempo. And they kind of walked me through of how things worked. And it's honestly been more positive than negative, and learning about the communities that have been forming and creating digital art. Being an artist, it's a very solo journey. Only in this space have I been able to kind of understand how people can build communities based on art. This is more than just you creating something and then putting it out into the ether. This is people taking your art and creating bigger things and building communities, doing good in the world. So in the end, it was really awesome to learn more about the positive things that could come from this community. Yeah, that's it for me.
and Sam, you don't give yourself enough credit because you entered this space and, I feel like it clicked for you and you were already thinking about ways to, engage the community and build upon this world of NFTs that started so long ago, pre NFTs for you. And so, it's been amazing so far, and we're really excited to bring this collection to the community.
Yeah, for sure. It's been awesome. I appreciate you guys bringing.
That's amazing, guys. I love to hear that story, and I love to hear just kind of the overall just vibe from the team. It seems like you guys are really supportive, and you really are looking to understand a little bit more about how things are ran. So I love that. Quick overview of what I guess the project is hoping to be in this space. Like, what is, what sets this apart from, any other project that kind of comes out? Would you say that the main focus is just really dope art, or, is the story driven elements of this? I know, you go to the website that's listed on the Twitter, and you take the quiz to get, kind of sorted into your sanctum. I got the equality one, which I thought was pretty cool. Not
Nice.
A lot of notable people who are in the equality sanctum. Just Martin Luther King, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Ryan H.
Yeah.
You're in good company.
All the originals. So
that's great.
What exactly are you guys hoping to accomplish with this project?
Yeah, that's a great question. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, the reason why I went to Sam in particular was because of art. Like, in the very beginning of this space, I'm sure you guys all remember early on, where every other day it was a different animal. You were just like, I can get more squids, or I can get whales, or I can get squirrels, or I can get cats, or I can get dogs, or I can get axolotls, And it was like, I just wanted something in this space that would be worthy of the blockchain. My house is built like from floor to ceiling. There's art everywhere. And so I wanted to create a quality in this space that really was something that would be proud to look back on and say that it was a building block here. So I think this story and the art itself has provoked storytelling, which I think is really interesting to me. And I'll definitely let Brian and Sam speak more to that. But for me, I wanted this to be about art. I wanted it to be about celebrating an amazing artist in person, to give him an opportunity to hear how much we loved his work. And everything else to me on top of that is just bonus. But I feel really, really amazed and proud of the work that Sam has done to just create something that I want to own because it's beautiful.
Yeah, I definitely second that. It's most definitely an art-centric project. And as most art does, it allows people with different perspectives to see it in different ways and kind of bring their own vantage point to the art and to the collection as a whole. So that's definitely the primary focus. The differentiator, I'd say, that's really unique. I've been in this space for a long time now, and what Sam has done with this art is he's made 3,773 unique and beautiful pieces of art, all of the individual saints of Robotica. And something that we teased in one of our tweets lately is how all of those individual pieces of art come together and form a single grand design. And so we're really excited to show that part of the project as well, because there's so many of these projects now that have, the works of art, but this one actually has them all come together to form a grander piece of art, which is really cool. And as you said, the quiz is a cool little onboarding experience. So I'm glad to hear that you took that. It's our way of introducing people to Sam's work, to Sam's art in like a fun and engaging way. And so glad to hear that you took that, enjoyed the experience. And I even see someone else in the audience, Park, was also in your Sanctum of Equality, as they're using it as their PFP right now, which looks fantastic.
That's awesome. Again, I love interactive ways to onboard. I think that's a important thing, and even if it is just some like a simple quiz, I think it is one of those things that kind of adds to the experience. Gets me excited to mint, gets me identifying with certain aspects of the project or certain traits or what it may be. I love how the art looks too. I feel like it's very unique in the sense where someone mentioned earlier, like a Mega Man stained glass. It kind of reminds me of like a robot from Mega Man in a stained glass. So I love the vibe there. One thing I've kind of noticed is it's kind of a juxtaposition between maybe a serious tone and a laid back tone. Is that intentional, or is this? Is the idea of this to be taken seriously, or is this done in lighthearted nature?
I'll take that question. So yeah, it is lighthearted, but it was basically this contrast between technology, a marriage between technology and religion. So technology is something very linear and binary, juxtaposed to something very abstract and ethereal, like religion. It's kind of a reflection of like our deep kind of personal connection with technology. The serious thing is, we do trust it with our safety. This, like, we use this to entertain us, buy things, connect us to people, and as it grows more exponentially, as we integrate it more into our lives, the art project is like kind of a simple presentation of the parallels of something greater than ourselves, which we put a lot of our trust and faith into. And so, like, just like that, it is lighthearted, but it also has some serious commentary on it. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll add on to that, because when we first started talking about this project a while ago and the concept of it, it does make me think, and it makes other people, I think about like our relationship with technology, how it's changed from a year ago, 5 years ago, to how it could look 5-10 years from now. And it layers on this element of artificial intelligence, which is a vastly important subject in today's society, and how that technology will become increasingly more and more involved in our lives. And so this is kind of taking that to a level where you extrapolate to the future. You imagine, what does the world look like with a super intelligent AI organization, system, religious group, that human beings revere for their greatness and their ability to protect humanity and solve some of their biggest threats and problems. So there's definitely elements here. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to kind of add to that and say that, like, if you look at it very practically, the very first tagline when Sam did the video was, "Okay, humans, we'll take it from here. Trust us with your faith." And it was like, kind of like, oh yeah, like we're going to trust robots with our faith. Well, you know what? Earlier this year, I had robotic surgery. And if you would have told me 2 years from now that I would rather have a robot do my surgery or robotic assistants doing a pretty major surgery than a human to do my surgery or to assist, I wouldn't have thought that, right? And so we trust technology with so many things. I trust it to wake me up every day. And you know what? Sometimes Alexa doesn't do that and I'm late for work that day. And yet, you know what? The next day I'm still like, Alexa, set alarm for whatever time. So I think that, the concept, there is some lightheartedness to it, but you almost have to laugh because it's almost crazy how much our faith and trust in technology has really shifted just within the past couple years,
Yeah, I love that, because in my head, you mentioned trusting a robot to do surgery. I'm thinking like I would. I'm a very not religious person, I would say, to speak lightly, and I would say that when it comes to educating people on religion, I would trust a robot over people, because people have emotions that play into things and stuff like that. So there's even that element behind there that's like, shit, I'd trust a robot religion over a regular human religion any day. So just a commentary on the concept there. I love it. Let's I guess at the end of the day, this is an NFT project, right? So with NFT projects, there's the understanding expectation from the community of certain things. One of those things that's always highly touted and regarded and asked is what's the utility? Where's the utility other than just dope art? What's the utility? And I don't think every project needs a utility. I think there's so much room in the space for just amazing art kind of projects. But would you guys say that there is utility that needs that'll be expected from holders? Curious.
Art is the utility at the core level, right, Lynette?
Sorry, I had to unlock my phone and go in there. So when we pitched this, that was 100% it. It's like, there is no utility, there is no roadmap. Enjoy your beautiful picture, because you know what? I have a million pieces of art on my wall that I've spent way more perhaps than any NFT I've bought, and I don't go back to that artist and ask for anything. I just needed it around me when I was having a dark moment. But what I will also say is, though we've promised no utility, Sam has some pretty awesome ideas that I'm pretty sure if someone as a holder were to know what was in store, that would be great. But I think the other problem that we have here is sometimes, because we are in this NFT space and we treat it as an investment in other elements, we expect artists to be things that they're not. Why does an artist have to be a business owner? Why does an artist have to be a community manager? An artist is amazing because they make great art. So I think by saying, hey, there is no utility, there is no roadmap, but that doesn't mean that I don't have amazing futures planned for this IP, for this special thing I've created. And I'd say that's probably the closest that I would even be comfortable committing Sam to that. But I just say, if we expect amazing art, you're going to get that. And I happen to know that there might be some other cool things up his sleeve, but not officially packaged as a roadmap.
Yeah, I think it's always important to be able to find your right audience, find your right community. And so setting that expectation that this is about the art and we're interested in, collectors who want to own the art, to own their saint, and to find, their saint and where it exists on the grand design. Like, there's a lot of cool elements that NFTs and blockchain brings to this project that it couldn't do without it. And so blockchain in and of itself and NFTs in and of itself is an incredible technology to show that proof of ownership, to be able to own a digital asset, and to be able to, have a connection with an artist. When I first started getting into NFTs, I was amazed that I could enter in a Discord server for the first time for me, and I could speak to and listen to and chat with these people who also enjoy the art. And so I would relate that to something like, Beeple or Xcopy or a number of other artists that have a way to communicate and have a way to engage their community and share work in progress and ideas coming up. And that in itself is utility. Like, you could call that ability to engage with the artist, a utility of ownership. So utility is a word that gets thrown around and can be misconstrued in many different ways. So we do like to say that art is the utility, but like Lynette has mentioned, and in other ways, there is more utility to being a part of the Saints of Robotica.
And the other thing that I would also say is, and this is really, I think, what struck me about the NFT spaces, there's not a lot of places left that you can be first, right? Like we've kind of explored the entire world. We're reaching out into space, into Mars, and being first is something that I think a lot of people crave, to leave that mark, to leave that legacy. And to our knowledge, this is really one of the first NFT projects where not only are you part of a collection, but your piece is a part of a whole that you can legitimately say, and here's where I fit into this. Like the community is felt, but you don't see the community. And I think this is a visual representation of the community in such a really special and beautiful way. And I think it's the first. And why wouldn't I want to be part of being first in a place where there's not a lot of opportunities to do that in life?
So many good quotes out of this space already. You guys are putting things in such beautiful words, and I love it. Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think access to the to the community of people that hold the same art as you is something that I've always appreciated. I think back to art blocks specifically. I remember when IPP Sketch had Bent, and I'm still a big fan of that project and that artwork. And I remember the artist specifically telling me that his was my favorite, or mine was his favorite of the one that I minted. And I was like, oh shit, that's so
That's cool.
The artist tells me, hey, he really likes the one that you got, which, that just makes it more memorable, right? So I totally get that, and I totally understand that, and I think that's something that's lost right now because, if I have to be honest with you, I'm in, hundreds of Discords every day. I don't want any more community utility. You know what I mean? Like they always say that like you have like 25 close friends or something. You can't have more than that or whatever the number is. I feel that number for Discord should be even smaller than 25. So there's no harm or no foul there. I just wanted to make sure that we're not minting something and supposed to be expecting something else. But I love that. Going back to the art meta of like, hey, let's appreciate this kind of art. So getting, off that topic, but onto the mint itself. Can you give us some more details about like when, how much, and again the quantity of art that we'll be minting?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll share what we're able to today. We're working hard to get this out into the public, done well and done right. We know how important it is to try to have an infallible drop. So we have experience on the team to make sure that we are prepared as possible. We did announce the supply. It's our pinned tweet right now on Saint Robotica has this video that is actually really cool. So you should check it out. And we announced that the supply is 3,773. It's a special number in how many saints there are and how they are arranged in the grand design. And so that's the supply. The price and date are still TBA. We will give plenty of notice so that nobody feels like they're going to miss out or it's surprise mint or anything like that. So just keep an eye on Twitter. We will be announcing those details soon. And as for how, we have been using the style of the quiz for people to join and become welcomed to the Inner Circle list. So we are planning on doing a whitelist sale and then a public sale. And the details of that will be shared also when we send out the rest of the mint details.
Excellent. And so far, early on, I'm sure this isn't your first Twitter space. I'm sure this isn't your first, marketing efforts. How are you guys seeing the project being use hype as just the actual meaning, not like a fake kind of thing, but how's the hype been? How's the expectations or the excitement been from other communities and just overall the people you've interacted with?
Yeah, we've been building this for 6 months now, and in the last month we've seen a lot of growth. In the last month alone, we've seen our followers and engagement increase a lot, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that people are organically and genuinely sharing that they like the art, and that gets usually more attention from the people around them in their circles than just like a I am trying to get a whitelist for this thing. So it's kind of been a combination of both, using the quiz as onboarding as well as people really sharing that they enjoy the art. We've seen a lot of comments, people talking about AI, people talking about the art. And so that's been really cool. And so, it's been really exciting.
The other thing that was really interesting to us when we did a space a couple weeks ago was how many people the spirituality of it resonated. I know, I think you mentioned earlier that you weren't the most religious person, whereas, I am kind of on the other side of that. And I think what's really interesting is that regardless of what vantage point you come to it from, the project resonates with you because faith, though, kind of often thought about in a very spiritual way, everybody has faith in something. You have faith that the chair you're sitting in is actually going to hold you up. You have faith that your computer is going to send that email and if you think about how much faith we're putting in technology, whether you're a religious or spiritual person, the project resonates with you. But because of the iconography and the concept of saint, it really has resonated with the spiritual crowd as well. So I think it has been really organic and it's grown. Every day we look, we're just so blessed, I think, to be honest, to just see how many people are really enjoying this. And just the fact that it's hitting on so many different demographics from both an emotional and aesthetic space.
Yeah, I find it even interesting from the perspective you just gave about it resonating with people who are religious. Just because, again, I looked at that and saw like the complete opposite kind of thing, and I know that I am, not religious as I mentioned, but I think even more so this like having faith in robots seems absolute, right? Like what they're going to do. They're programmed to do X, Y. Obviously, AI is different. But like in my head, I'm like, well, that's a religion that you could believe in. Whereas with other religions, it's always up for grabs, up for questioning. So again, I'm already loving the layers of complexity and interpretations from different people. So I always love a good it kind of leaves it up for debate, but not necessarily debate, but interpretation. And I love good, vagueness with a project. So that's awesome.
And it's not even debate. It's just like you said. I mean, how many times you've just sat down and had a meaningful discussion with somebody from a completely different vantage point and been able to see that clearly, right? And I think that it's just become a catalyst for conversation. And I think we could all just use kind of more meaningful interactions. Even this one has been like really insightful. So, like you said, that layering has just allowed for connections that you don't often get to engage in your daily life.
Definitely. And one thing I had, a question on is I'm seeing these really awesome PFPs from you guys, with the art there. And my question is, that looks awesome as a PFP. What would that look like, in my office or kind of, with a smart display, something like that? What kind of like format are we looking at here for like the display? Because I'm big into displaying art. I just bought a new house, so I want to display so much different art in different areas. And one of the things that I really, really am trying to invest in is really good NFT infrastructure for that kind of art. And the Ural's piece, I feel it would be a great kind of office piece or something like that. So what are we working with there?
Yeah, there are a lot of ways to display this art, physical or digital. Some of the videos that we've shown have teased different ways. Some of our posts have teased different ways that it can be used, physical or digital, phone backgrounds, something on the wall, clothes. There's a lot of opportunities to use this. And I think what you mentioned, like something on the wall, the saints themselves, and we're excited to show you the different ways that you can see them and view them and what you would get from the mint. So this is some information we haven't shared publicly yet, but we want to tell you because it was a great question. I think, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong here, but there's this concept of like a digital altar. And so we're going with this concept of when you mint your saint, you'll get one view of it, which is the whole saint in all of its beautiful glory. And you can also get the PFP version of the saint. And depending on which one you want to use, whether it's in your digital space or in your physical space, you'll have a choice of how you want to display that. So we know that everyone loves to use PFPs, and Sam is rocking one. I've got one. I've seen some other people in the audience have been using one, like the pumpkin one is hilarious to see that being used. And then there's the full Saint view, which is something that we're excited to show you. And we've been rolling out some teasers of the Saints, and so it's not your standard like this is a preview of a certain type, but it's Sam's artistic concept of here's what the Saint looks like as your NFT, and this is what a mythological version of that Saint could look like. So if you've seen those posts, or if not, we encourage you to check them out. But long-winded way of saying there are multiple ways to display your Saints, physical or digital, and there's actually going to be multiple views that you'll get with them when you mint.
I love that, and I assume that we have a few pinned tweets up here in the space. I assume what you're referring to is some of these more articulate-looking drawings that are coupled with the PFP, correct?
Yes, that's correct. You'd be able to see the PFP in the corner, or not the PFP, the full Saint view, and then the art that Sam created is like a mythological representation, the artist depiction of this Saint, which is something that we really want to see how people use their imagination when they see and they collect their Saints.
I love it. No, it's making my mind kind of wander as well. So that's awesome. Well, y'all, I really appreciate you guys answering my questions. Ryan H here. Wanted to see if there's anyone out in the crowd that had some questions. Would you guys be okay with fielding some questions from the crowd?
Yeah, that would be perfect. If anyone has anything, come on up. And I guess while people are requesting, I did want to share something about the Inner Circle list, or the whitelist for our project. As a thank you for everyone who's here and joining, we want to do a special raffle giveaway for you. If you haven't taken the Sanctum sorting quiz yet, we encourage you to do so. There's a link in our Twitter bio where you can go to that. It's like a quick 90-second experience. If you've already taken it, we ask that you take it again so we can do this raffle appropriately. But essentially what we'll do is take the quiz right now or in the next 30 minutes or so. And for the question that asks, why do you want to join the Saints of Robotica? Just write Twitter Spaces in there, or MVHQ, or anything with Twitter Spaces in it. And for all of you here that are getting this information, we will raffle off 5 of the Inner Circle whitelist spots to someone who's taken the quiz and writes that Twitter Spaces line in that question.
That's awesome. We really appreciate that. So sorry, I think you got cut off there for a second, but we really do appreciate that. That's awesome, guys. Make sure you take advantage of that, because this looks like a dope project. I'm really excited. I'm getting good vibes from this team as well. I know it's a weird thing to say on the space. Hey guys, I trust these guys. They have a good vibe. Guys and girls rather. But no, I really do. I really do like where your all's heads are at with this project. So great. One thing we're gonna bring up Augustus here, but if you do have a question, please make sure it's dedicated specifically to the project. Let's not ask for collaborations if you're in charge of your own project or anything like that. Let's keep the shilling to DMs. I'm sure their DMs are open if you want to reach out to them, but let's keep it directed specifically to the project. So, Augustus, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Hi, guys. How are you doing?
Hi, Augustus. Doing well. Thanks for joining.
Great. I have a question regarding the grand design. So what will be the role of the design? Will it be for auction, or how will you play with this thing, this big picture?
Yeah, it's a good question. For now, it's to be determined. There's definitely some bits and pieces we want to work out regarding rights for the collection, and since everyone will have their own PFP and you can see it in the grand design, I think for now it's going to be, let's just call it a community design. But I think the details of that we will share as we get closer to the mint.
Great, thank you. Super excited about the project.
Thank you. Thanks for the question.
Appreciate it, Augustus. Anyone else have another question before we wrap this up? Don't want to leave them super unquestioned. So if you have maybe a silly question you want to ask, like feel free to come and ask. While we do wait on that, one question I always love to ask projects when I do these Twitter Spaces is, especially towards the end, is there anything maybe we haven't discussed that you guys are really psyched about here? Maybe a collaboration of some kind, or just someone's involvement that we haven't discussed, or if not, is there anything to kind of wrap up that you would like people to know before we get closer to mint?
I think it's just important that people stay tuned on the Twitter. We are using that as our official place to share information about the project. The mint is coming up, and we want you all to be there and ready and prepared for it. So I think we covered a lot of ground today, so I don't have anything particular that I want to add on here in conclusion. But I will say that I'm already seeing some of the quiz results coming in, and we're seeing the Twitter Spaces comments. So we'll choose the winners there, and we'll reach out to you and take a look at the inner circle list to see if you've been welcomed.
I think the only thing I will say is that, and I'm not saying this just because I'm on the team, right? I'm saying it because of Sam. I think in this day and age, you don't really bet on like projects or investments in physicals and NFT anywhere else. You find good people. And I can say, 11 years ago, I bought a piece of art and I met a good person. And I think Sam is an incredible person. And the team keeps telling me, Lynette, that's not a different, you can't, it is a selling point. Sam is just a genuinely kind and amazing human who's sharing his talent and his art with all of us. And I think if you need a decision and a reason, why not support artists who are good humans? And so I leave that with you. The reason why I reached out to him is because I just wanted that goodness. And like Brian said, it's about these vibes that are out here. And so if you guys are looking for good vibes, if you're looking for a good human, I don't think you have to look much further than Sam. And I hope that his art resonates with you, and that when it comes time to support someone and to support a project and to bring beautiful art into your home, that you'll definitely consider it.
Wow! If I was him, I'd be blushing right now. That's just like if I ever have a funeral, when I have a funeral, I would want someone to speak to about like my work that way. That's awesome, and I'm glad that the connection from 11 years ago still matters that much. And like I did say, I think there are some projects that absolutely exude good vibes, and I feel it here in this Applebee's right now. So thank you, everybody.
That's great.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Team, I can't appreciate this conversation enough. I'm really excited to see how Mint goes and getting into that inner circle. Fingers crossed. Guys, please check them out. Their Twitter is literally in the space right now. So go ahead and give them a follow, join all their socials. And team, again, thank you so much. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks.
Thank you, Ryan.
Bye, everyone. Thanake you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.